Hello, welcome to my video. I'm talking about gun control. This will be my TED Talk video for my class, so feel free to join in and just hear me out. I know right now there's been a lot of discussion on gun control. It seems that every time we turn on the TV, someone else is getting shot or has been shot. Just talking in reference to this year alone, there's already been multiple mass shootings. Many people are blaming the fact that anyone can own a firearm. The real problem is, as I see it, it's basically just too easy to purchase one. Making laws stricter would be a better solution. Why most people are asking, which is to outright ban the ability to own a firearm. Why take the rights of a law-abiding citizen when our Second Amendment clearly gives us the privilege? The day, if ever, that becomes a reality is the day that honest, law citizens will now be unprotected from those individuals out there not going to turn their guns in for obvious reasons. The crime rate will still continue and maybe even increase now that more innocent citizens will now be defenseless. I truly don't understand how this could be a solution to all these problems. The bottom line is that something needs to be done to get the weapons out of the wrong hands. Possibly more demanding background checks with a lengthier time before purchasing, as well as continued checks even after the purchase. As a person has to renew their permits in order to hunt, fish, etc. Why not make each gun owner renew their license to bear arms as well? This doesn't take away their Second Amendment, it just checks on them. This way they are not stripped from their rights given to us. A person whom has already committed a Class B misdemeanor should be put on a probation where his or her gun should be stripped for a period of time, not taken away, because by Second Amendment we won't do that. Getting their guns out of the wrong hands of those prior felonies would be at least a start. I stand firm in the belief that innocent, law-abiding citizens should not be punished, but for something that they have not done. We should be able to protect ourselves with necessary and, most importantly, legal and correct. Also, statistics show that 88 of every 100 people own a gun. This has been the highest by far since 2012. The number of guns stolen in the U.S. per year is 230,000, which are the reason for most conflicts of crime. More than 30,000 Americans are killed with each gun each year. About 2/3 of those are suicides, meaning the problem is mentally, and the gun is one tool to solve the death. Guns don't make you become suicidal. They don't. Your environment does. It is clearly we need to change the way the society thinks about gun control, about guns. There is a part of the American society where one thinks he or she can just walk outside and spend a wonderful day without chaos. Then there's the other, which in most cases is a reality that without stricter gun laws, we just aren't safe anymore. Having the policy for no handguns is still possible, but nowadays everyone needs proof and a little more madness to finally put into effect. In order for a change, it looks like more people need to become a victim of the situation with a gun to be able to realize that a firearm can provide safety if one person is able to help. If you want to change society, you have to change the whole society. An article is written where a girl states that when she was little, she was introduced to guns and how they were scary. She then wrote an article about guns and how they were the problem, but then she realized that wasn't the case. Everyone is so quickly to blame for mass shootings. If that is the case, then if there was a car in an accident, we should focus on banning cars, which is ridiculous. Americans have mental health crisis, not a gun crisis. In any case, handguns should be kept in a safe place away from children or dismembered and put in a different place around the house. No parent wants to come home and see their child playing with a gun, which they see as a toy but is a lot more dangerous and which could lead to a life-changing experience. As implied to gun control, the needle in the haystack problem suggests that there are so many guns in the United States and there are so few used to commit crimes. Reducing the availability of firearms through broad-based gun regulations would not reduce crimes, would not reduce criminals as well. Access to guns thus would not reduce gun violence. First, they arrive as an estimate of the crime use of guns. They divide an estimate of all firearms in private hands by estimating of how many criminals use guns occurred in one. Zimmering, and Hawking suggest that it is essential to examine the career risk of using a gun in serious crime or violent episode, and they claim that the risk is probably over 10%. Not always do firearms have a negative outcome. In a particular case where a man was about to be robbed in a parking lot, the weapon he wielded saved him. In this predicament, it shows that having a weapon at a time, not knowing what could happen, is one's day's life had a positive feedback for the man. He did not get robbed and brought down a criminal, all in his rights to do so. The government will only help to a certain extent. We need to stop relying on the government to protect us from our neighbors, cops, for example. How many crimes involve guns that are purchased illegally? Better surveillance on gun dealers would help monitor the purchase of firearms and whether they are legal or illegal. Growing up, you should never see a firearm jump out of a case and set up a fire towards somebody. It's just a piece of metal, like knives and rocks. Someone holding a concealed weapon should not have to be necessarily seen as a threat. But yet, had they been investigated properly before purchasing, would now have been seen as a protector. The American people should be able to have the confidence that when they see someone with a concealed weapon, a sense of safety overcomes them and not a threat. There should be also a better monitoring system for gun owners. In words, even though the person already bears a concealed weapon license, that should be the end of it. Each individual should have to renew their license yearly, even if at a minimal fee. We draw the line in choosing who is mentally ill to own a gun. I've given this some thought. The person who shot the individual in Newtown, Connecticut, stole the gun he used, which is against the law. He shot and killed his mother, also against the law. He transported the loaded gun onto school property, against the law. He broke into the school and discharged the weapon within city limits, killing 26 people, against the law. So as you can see, we need to focus on the ones who break the law. This is no point in putting stricter laws on law-abiding citizens. The United States should consider a more rigorous background check prior to allowing an individual to purchase any type of firearm. The main cause of death over the previous years has been more so because the characters of the person who wielded the guns and not so much the fact that they own the gun. Why don't we be tough on existing laws to enforce? For example, better control on the mentally unstable come into contact with any gun or association that sells or distributes guns. Many of our returning military veterans who fought Iraq and Afghanistan have also filed claims for PTSD, which is nothing wrong. It does happen on the field, and I have nothing against that. My father did go serve, and he has very slight of it, so I'm not against PTSD and having them as a mentally unstable person. I'm just saying that we all have nothing against them, just more precautious that obviously they're not there. Reports suggest that Sandy Cook killer had a mental disorder. The mass killer in Tucson and on the Virginia Tech campus did too. It appears that Aurora shooter had one. Connecticut had an estimate of 140,000 residents with severe mental illness. About half are not getting any treatment. Reports show that the high number of Americans own guns. The question is, how is it possible to get the people who want to get rid of the problem of banning guns to understand? The debate has changed in remarkable ways in the last 15 years. If we only stop to focus on the negative aspect of allowing practically anyone to own and or possess a gun, someone would center their attention on a horrible outcome it has on American society. But there should also be an emphasis on how they could change America in a positive way. Guns, at the end of it all, don't kill people. People kill people, sadly as it is. Is this ever going to end? No one can truly answer. Only time will tell when our world is heading towards.